Hi, my name's Neil Eckengren, and this is my science fair project. It's called MEOWSER, Mineral Element Browser. I have a cabinet full of rocks and minerals, and I also have a computer monitor. They're both touchscreen. You can touch here, things happen. You can touch over here, and things happen. So let me take you through the whole thing and show you what it does. Okay, so let's show you what we got here. Let's start with the cabinet on the left. We're going to pick a rock. Let's point at, how about this one? Pyrite, sphalerite, and quartz is in there. So now if I go look at the monitor, you'll see those three minerals are in that rock. There's a picture of it, not such a great picture, but a picture of the rock, and iron, zinc, germanium, there's several elements in there. So if I click on, let's see, what is pyrite? The grid highlights and it tells me a little bit of info down here. Pyrite is the classic fool's gold. And if I click on the picture, it shows you where the pyrite is in that rock. And that doesn't show so well here. It's the gold color in the rock. Let's try sphalerite. Tells us about sphalerite down here. I click on the rock and let's see. Oh, those are so close together I didn't even... Quartz. Quartz is the clear crystals in the rock. Let's see, what other mineral do we have? How about this one? Gold. I go back to the monitor. That mineral contains only gold. Native gold, 100% gold. Nuggets, you find those in the wild, and so that's a perfect mineral for my Apex mineral cabinet or element. For instance, let's look at, we'll go to the cabinet here, let's look at tungstite. I point at that, I go look at my chart, my monitor. That's a pure chunk of tungstite, and it contains tungsten. And that is an Apex mineral. So let me click on a couple more things here on the cabinet. First, let's look at, there's a couple buttons you can't see. I'm going to click on one first. Oh boy, runway lights. I was going to create a piano mode, but I had problems with hardware timing. I'll get back to that someday here. And the other button I have on the cabinet is rock finger paint mode. So if I drag my finger, let's try that again. If I drag my finger on the cabinet, it lights up the rocks that I'm pointing at. And so you can draw a picture, I suppose, or just play with it. That's the two demo modes I have on the cabinet. I'm going to point at a couple things over here. Down here in the cabinet, this bottom cabinet, these are all modular, so I can keep expanding. The bottom cabinet contains the Arduino board, which is the interface between the computer and the cabinet. So if I go look at my monitor here, this has got the Arduino lit up. You can get a close-up of it. And there's a cable that goes to this Arduino from the computer, and from the Arduino, there's more info on Arduino if you want. Right next to it in the cabinet, which I'm going to point at that now, is the breadboard of rocks. And so that is a close-up of all the circuits on it. I have videos on the electronics of this project. I think that's all I want to click on in the cabinet right now. Let's look at the periodic table. So on the monitor, if we click on an element, the entire table lights up because now we're in the mode where we want to just learn about elements. So I've clicked on titanium, and you'll see in this chart here that there's three minerals that contain titanium. If I go look at my cabinet, you'll see those three rocks are lit up because they contain the minerals with titanium. And so we'll click around back on the periodic table. Let's click on oxygen. And if I look at the cabinet, oh my, lots of stuff is lit up, and that's because Oxygen is the most common element on Earth, 50% by volume actually, so almost every rock has oxygen in it. Back to the periodic table, I can click on any of these minerals and find out about them down here on the left. If I want to know about oxygen, I click on this button up here. It opens a web page which I've authored. Ignore the script error. This just started happening. I have a whole bunch of web pages of what I think is interesting about oxygen and how it relates to life and which apex mineral I actually chose to represent oxygen. I'm going to close this. So the other thing on this periodic table, I have a quiz. I always give the quiz to the kids at the science fairs and maker fairs. I'll give you the first question here. It says touch 57 lanthanum on the periodic table. How many rocks contain lanthanum? So I go look at my cabinet. 2, it looks like. I answer the question. I think the answer is 2. It says yes. And so it starts asking me the next question. And if you finish it, you're a genius. So that's a good little thing to get the kids navigating this toy here. So the software here on the computer was built using Visual Studio, C#, Microsoft Stack. It's got databases behind it. I have database diagram, the tables with the information in them, ER diagrams. You can't see that right now. But I use this to talk from, and I also use this screen right here to explain the architecture of this thing. If you're, that's about it. If you're interested in more info, go look at some of the other videos.